Really appreciate
Mhm.
having you here today.
Okay, yeah, wonderful, wonderful. So I am Rohan. I'm from EOS Authority. We are a block producer. We've been producing blocks from the start of the network, thankfully. And yeah, so I am based in London, talking to you from London at the moment. And yeah, I have a tech demo that I'd like to go through. And yeah, so at EOS Authority, a lot of people know us with the tools that we've built, and we've also built a space game and so on. So we helped a lot of people with their registration initially, moving from Ethereum to EOS and so on. That was where a lot of our, yeah, projects were and stuff. And then, yeah. So great. We came up with an idea of how we could actually present EOS and show how fast it really is. And some of you have, I can see Santosh in the chat. He's seen this. He's seen part of this when we spoke about it and Soul and things. But yeah, great. So does this any questions so far on in terms of what we do? Okay, great. So I can probably jump straight in and then go into the actual presentation. So if everybody can see my screen, let me walk you through the presentation. Great. So um, these are so you can see a list of features on EOS. Lots of features on EOS. Quite a lot. So a lot of this would have been touched on by a few of the other speakers today and so on. I want to speak about two features that I find really interesting. So they are 500 milliseconds block interval and free transactions. There, we just put these two features together and it's pretty impressive. So first, what is a block? This you see here is a block. So a block contains things like who the block producer is, the transaction ID, and so on. There's lots of things that go into a block. I think I'm not using a mouse anymore. It just moves pages. Okay, so that is what you see in a block now. Um, what's unique about EOS is a block is created every 500 milliseconds. And what's special about a block is you send transactions into the blockchain. Everybody sends their transactions. So things like transfer my tokens here, there, all kinds of stuff. It goes into um, the blockchain. The moment a block is created, that's when all your transactions are visible. So once a block is published, all the other block producers, everybody sees the transactions. And what's unique about EOS is the blocks are created every 500 milliseconds, meaning you wait a maximum of 500 milliseconds before your transactions are actually published. So that's 500 milliseconds again and again and again. So yeah, that's how the whole EOS thing works. Now, why is 500 milliseconds block time important? Two reasons. Firstly, um, 500 milliseconds becomes the upper limit in terms of how long you wait for your transactions to be included in the blockchain. And also, 500 milliseconds is like the upper limit in terms of blocks. Um, let me show you what I kept talking about 500 milliseconds. Let me go into what happens in terms of 500 milliseconds and why it's important. Say you were like to build something in the real world, like a like button. And imagine all these like buttons were implemented on EOS, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. The moment you press the like button on each of those platforms, it takes a while for your like transaction to be accepted and included in the actual EOS blockchain. So with EOS, in 500 milliseconds, you get your transactions visible on the network. Everybody can see it, and that's the maximum time you wait. Ethereum, on the other hand, takes about 30 seconds. So that is, yeah, quite some time. So yeah, 30 seconds is like, yeah, done, and then you eventually get it. Bitcoin, it takes 10 minutes for the transaction to get included within the chain. So that is very long. Yeah, let's not wait 10 minutes. Okay, the next thing would like to talk about is the free transactions on EOS. So EOS transactions are absolutely free. You have an account on EOS, you can actually do all kinds of transactions. Ethereum transactions they vary from $2 to like $5, quite a lot. Bitcoin transactions, I've seen it as high as $35 earlier this year. And what's annoying sometimes is you pay more fees for your transactions to get added in faster. EOS, on the other hand, we have rate limits just to like prevent total abuse of free transactions, but these rate limits are very, very high. Normal usage, people wouldn't hit those limits with their accounts. So we talked about two amazing features that are fairly unique to US: 0.5-second block time and free to use transactions on chain. So if you combine these two features like alone, we can actually build pretty cool things on EOS. So the question we asked ourselves when we saw this on Dawn 3.0 was, what can we build on the fastest blockchain ever? Can we actually put something together to actually show people how fast the whole EOS chain is? So what we thought of was Space Invaders and how we could actually have an actual game within the EOS chains. We could actually create something like an action game. We could prove that EOS is really this fast. You can actually sign a transaction, make a move on chain, and still like play a game. So we thought this will be a perfect demo. So I'd like to hopefully go into the live demo later today. But before that, let me tell you what this is, what happens on the actual Space Invaders game. So how this actual game works. So Space Invaders, what is it? It's a real-time action game. Every move, every left and right is actually a move that's stored in the actual blockchain. It's free to play. If you have an EOS account, you can play. You can do all kinds of. You can play the game as long as you want. I'll go into the details again. Back when in June we had a testnet version developed. It used RAM. It was a bit harder to play. We had limited options and so on. But with the new on the live mainnet, the game actually works without any RAM. We monitor transactions on the chain, and it works pretty well. We had to create our own Node EOS extension that we call a web push plugin. Basically, what happens is if you say move right or move left, your transaction is immediately taken from the EOS chain, and we convert it into an HTTP push request, which we actually send out to our servers to actually be able to make the move. So that is a C++ plugin that we've already open sourced. It's available on our GitHub repo. So this is how the game will work. As a user, you would go in, you would play on your mobile device or on your browser. You would say move right or left. The moment you say move right or left, your actual moves, they go onto the EOS chain. The chain verifies your move. It knows who you are. It then carries forward your move. The move is then sent to the actual game. So all of this is what happens in theory. Let's see it in practice and let's hope it works. It's been very stable for quite a long time. Let's see how it works. So let me click on the demo link. Yeah, let me just switch slides. I hope it works. Okay, okay, excellent. So I think I've kind of figured it out. So this is what you would see. You would go into the EOSauthority.com space page, and then you would say, live demo. So so this is the actual game on the mainnet. You can actually see a lot of people play the game. So we have top score by this account here. They've used 300 moves, and the top score is 15,000. What you would do is you would go in here, enter your account name, and click on Show Resources. And the moment you do it, the system would actually check on chain to see how many moves you have. Here, what happens is on this account, I have 6,000 moves available, which is quite a lot of moves. And what you can see here is I just have 110 EOS staked, and it gives me like so many moves on the actual EOS chain. I can't. So you saw the top score there, it was just 200 moves or so on, and it's really hard to use up all these moves. So if I were to scroll down, I can see options to play the game. Let's play with Scatter. I have Scatter installed here. My private key is already in there, and it's all connected. So let me click on Connect to EOS Network. I would import EOS account, and I want to play. It asks me what account do I want to play with. So I'll select this account, and I say Accept, and I can control it with the keyboard, control the game with a mobile. I also have options to play with Cleos. So if you yes, so yeah, scatter desktop's coming, Nathan. So let's control with keyboard. So go in there. I've already whitelisted the action, so that's not a problem. Let's see if it works. Okay, the game seems to be working fine. Excellent. So it's working at the moment. So I'm trying to play and explain things at the same time. I hope it works. So there are a few things to see here. What's happening right now is I just pressed the left button and then a lot of magic happens. So scatter signs the transaction, so you can see it here. So I press right now, and I press right twice. So I press right or left, scatter signs the transaction, and it sends it to the EOS blockchain. And it all happens in 500 milliseconds. So once the transaction goes in, so I just press right now. The transaction was signed by Scatter. It went to EOS Canon. Canon then signs the transaction and it sends it back. At any point, if you die, it's fine. You just restart. And we added a button here which says autopilot, and then it's supposed to make the moves by itself. Yeah, so I can talk to you. So let's see what's happening here. Every transaction left and right, it goes into the chain. The chain, our Node.js plugin listens to each of the moves. When it sees a move, it then sends a, a WebSocket push to our browser here, and we actually make the move. And that's what's happening. So it's pretty cool. It's only possible really on the EOS chain, thanks to the 500 milliseconds block time, and it's free to play. So yeah, definitely it makes it one of the fastest blockchains, if not the fastest. So yeah, so please feel free to try it. You can see everything about the transactions, all the left, right, all kinds of moves that's happening here. And yeah, so it's a game. Please try it out and let us know how it goes. So let me switch back to the slides. I just have a couple of slides more. Where we so yeah, that was a live demo. It showed you how the actual game worked and so on, the whole game mechanics. So yeah, what can you build on the fastest blockchain ever? We just used two features of the EOS. We've used the free transactions and 500 milliseconds block time to actually put together this demo. Yeah, what could you do combining the different things that are on EOS? So many features on EOS, you can actually build amazing things. Yeah, so that's about 10 minutes in terms of time. That's about the time that Bitcoin would take to confirm one single transaction on the EOS on its blockchain. So yeah, so I'd love to hear from you. Yeah, we are on Telegram, we are on Twitter, and things like that. So if you play the game, have thoughts and so on, ideas, let us know. Us adding the autopilot was a suggestion from the community. Us adding the list of transactions so you can see what's going on in the blockchain was another suggestion by a community member. So we'd love to hear from you, and yeah, love to make things better. So yeah, so that's the whole Space Invaders. Let me switch.
That's
back.
awesome. Looks fantastic, Rohan. So,
great,
are there any questions? I guess we has. Does it run out of RAM or only need to use CPU?
Okay, yeah, the RAM question is an interesting one. So what happens is when you say move left and move right, your move goes onto the EOS chain. So there's no RAM being used. You just sign a transaction and send it to the chain, and that's all. So there's no RAM. You won't run out of RAM. You just need to use CPU and bandwidth. And we find that CPU is, you hit the CPU limit faster than the actual, yeah, bandwidth limit. Yeah, absolutely. So I saw another question. You can actually see all your transactions on the blockchain. Um, you can see everything. If you went into the um, yeah, if you went into a block explorer like Blocks or EOS Spark or something like that, you can actually see all your transactions, all your moves, left, right, yeah, right on the chain. If I have time, I can probably show you that as well. So this is our little account page. You can see how it looks. So there is, you can see transactions, you can see left, right, all kinds of moves. So these are every single move on the actual chain. So yeah. Was there any other question? State is only left or right. Could we have? Oh yeah, that is a good idea. At the moment, we just have left or right. Yeah, that's correct. So we have to make it smaller. Instead of sending move left and right, they're big characters. We just made it 1 and 2, so they're integers and they're a bit more lighter weight. Yeah, we could also have a freeze where, yeah, you stand still. But if you stand still, like, yeah, you get shot. So yes. Yeah, so when you send a transaction, what's being used is bandwidth and CPU. And CPU and bandwidth are you get it back in like 24 hours or something. You get everything completely restored. So there's no point of, and you wouldn't run out of CPU or bandwidth essentially. So yeah.
All right, great. Thanks so much, Rohan. Thanks for all the great questions out there in the audience, and yeah, really appreciate you coming and speaking. It's it's amazing what you can build on EOS. So
Thank you so much for organizing. Thank you so much for the invite. I know it's a lot of work. It's hard to get everybody in on, yeah, and in together at the same time and things. It's amazing you managed to do it.
yeah, no,
So
no,
yeah, thank you.
thanks for being here. So really appreciate it. We'll see you out there in the community.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks. Bye.
Have a good day.